So part two of our day out in Greater Manchester area, we've ventured up on the train a few miles as far as Godley, and we're just sat at the turntable now. So we're going to have a look at what's around this area, the disused railway line, the old station, the railway yard behind us, and of course the Godley turntable. Making our way up towards the turntable and the disused things I'm going to show you up here. This is an old disused bridge. That's the old Cheshire Lines disused railway up there. Now, interesting, and this is going to become a little bit clearer further on in my video. Got the arch, there you go, normal original railway arch. And then you'll notice, just get out of the sun a second, sorry. You'll notice, no, that's not working. Let me come this way. That's better. You'll notice this newer section, well, it does look old, doesn't it? But it's newer than the arch. And this was an extra line that's been put in, all related to the turntable. This is on top of that bridge, just been stood underneath. Bridge 131. These. Never have got my head around these. WJP2 131. What's WJP stand for? Anyone know? So this is a new side, I was just saying. That's the new side of the bridge. And here's the old side, look. Stone masonry, that's the top of the arch bridge there. So firstly, let's just show you where Godley is. So we're just there to the east of Manchester. And this is part of a group of videos I'm doing around the old Woodhead route, a famous railway link over the Pennines that famously closed as a through route in the early 80s. One of the most controversial closures in UK railway history, you could say. Godley is just here on the junction of the old Woodhead Line and the Cheshire Lines Committee line, but more on this very shortly. So the turntable we're going to be seeing, we're going there last. We're just looking at a few things up this way. That's just there, that's only just through that little clearing there. So here's a line of posts. What's to do with signalling. That's got the brackets on. There's a line of them here as far as you can see. And the same again that way as well. So this was the Cheshire Lines, this disused railway, and it joins up with what is more commonly referred to as the Woodhead route, just in front, Manchester Sheffield Lincolnshire Railway, Great Central Railway, whichever you want to call it. And this was Godley Junction. So, double track, they've actually, when the Godley turntable was built in the 1930s, they put an extra line in, which is why we saw that new bit added on the side of the bridge. And that was all to do with changing the wagons, ready for the journey over Woodhead, changing the wagons, changing the engines. And obviously the Woodhead line was electrified, not when the turntable was built. I think it was delayed quite a bit with the oncome of the Second World War, and it was electrified. Oh God, do we know this? I'm trying to remember the dates. 1954? Was it 54 or 58 Woodhead was electrified? I can't remember. Terrible memory. So we've only wandered just about 200 yards up that Cheshire Lines disused track bed, and we're coming up to the junction I've just been talking about. Can you see through the trees there? There's the gantries for the overhead lines, and they're going all the way across. So they're covering this junction, and there was a yard just over here as well. Now we can't get any further, well, not legally anyway. But this was known as Godley Junction. Put the camera through so we can see, look at the amount of bits of dismantled things. They look like sleepers, I'm not sure, can't get close enough to have a good look, but there's a lot of long concrete posts scattered about there. But this side, I'm just trying to figure out the exact location of the station. This side we've got a lot of debris, and we've got what looks to be a platform edge. This is indeed the old station platforms at Godley Junction. Godley Junction was opened in 1866, and it sits on that junction of the former Manchester, Sheffield and Lincolnshire Railway, what we've been referring to as the Woodhead Line, and that Cheshire Lines Committee line to Woodley and beyond. You can see it had platforms on both the Woodhead and the CLC side. Godley Junction later dropped the junction from its name and later became known as Godley East after a nearby station closer to the town was opened in 1986. Godley East eventually closed in 1995. The CLC line that we've been stood on closed in 1981 and the track was lifted a few years later. Here's the footage of the old station and junction from the train travelling between Godley and Hattersley. You can see the platforms are still in place but overgrown on the Woodhead side of the station. And you can see those wide overhead gantries spanning the sidings and the running lines. Not quite sure. I mean, there's like a platform with an overhang, and then there's this bit that's flush that sticks out further within the platform. That's confusing me. Is that a footbridge possibly? I'm really not sure. But you can make out there definite platform edge, can't you? And that looks to me very much like a signal post, and it's got an emblem. I can just see some lettering on the top on that fitting, CL, Cheshire Lines. I think it's a signal post. I'm making an assumption there. I've come across fittings like that before. Well spotted. It's quite well hidden. It's quite well camouflaged with the leaves, isn't it? So that's the base of some of the old red line equipment. Yeah, so that's the site of Godley Junction Station, Godley East. Godley became strategically important, allowing freight coming over the Woodhead heading to and from Liverpool and the power stations in the west to avoid having to pass through Manchester. Exchange sidings were built and later on the turntable that we'll see today. But first we're going to have a look at some of the remains at the entrance to those sidings on the side of the CLC platforms called Brookfold sidings. At the base of a signal perhaps? Yeah, so this is on the side of the line here is where the yard was. Sidings. We're finding a few bits and bobs. Concrete, cylindrical concrete post. That's a lot, as you can see through the trees. You just wouldn't notice it. I don't know if we can get near it. Fight his way through. Got a barbed wire in front of us, so we can't get any closer. If you can see this between the trees. We've got an old yard lamp there. On these older maps pre-1930s, the still present Godley turntable hasn't yet been constructed. However, we can see another turntable to the east at the end of those sidings. And if we jump to a map from around 1950 of the area, we see the sidings and that third line appear that we saw on that extended bridge. Although the turntable isn't annotated on this map, we do know it is there at this point. Not incredibly exciting, but that's a bracket of something there. Now that's something old, isn't it? So what's that? Still got the bolts on there. I'll keep repeating that I love old railway sidings. Look at all these bits. There's a bolt there. Yeah, it's the clip off the rails. It was this that caught my eye. Look at those high voltage cables there. Sticking out the ground. There's the base of another piece of overhead line equipment. But it's not just a post. Look at that, there's a bracket. Someone tell me what these are called, I'm sure. It's the whole foot of it. Let me try and get close to this end. A lot of holly bushes around here. That proves a whole other problem for me filming anyway. So yeah, there's the one with cross bracing strut, was the word I was looking for. And obviously the other side of the overhead line gantry, and the post there, just lining up with it, so there'll be another one somewhere. But we're right back up to now to this bridge where there was that third line. So this will be the throat of those sidings. What's that?
For us. Nice.
You know what, John? I know we came here to see the turntable, but this loved looking around this little bit of a railway yard. I think the fact it's so small, there's not space to get lost and miss a lot of things. And there's the other end. That's the other end of the overhead line gantry, isn't it? That and stuff up. What's that then? Anyone know? Yeah, little bits of these things lying about. Pulley wheels. Well, I've just spotted through the trees here. That was a struggle. That's well worth it. Look at that. That's a link rod. See that? I say link rod like I know what I'm talking about. Oh. Is that off a steam engine? In there. Oh, caught my eye. Look at that. It's the base of a lamp, a light bulb.
Yeah, isn't it? It's massive.
So is that from a lamp?
It's not a domestic fitting.
It's certainly not a domestic fitting, is it?
No. It's exactly the same design.
Well, there's another one here, but without the glass. But again, just amongst all the bits you can find, like these old bolts, bits of coal. But we didn't come to see the station or the junction or the railway yard. We actually come to see this. This is the Godley turntable. There's quite a few people milling around. It is a bit of a popular spot.
Ah, right. Picnic spot.
A picnic spot, yes. It's not railway related, that's just a cycle network. I'm still scanning around, John, in the undergrowth and things, see if there's anything left.
Yeah.
So here's the turntable now. And before we go any further, I'm just going to familiarise myself. So I've got some photographs here. Trains using the turntable. That does look different. It's looking back towards the yard. And just up from the turntable is this what I think there was a siding in front of this. little stubby. Siding, presume some kind of loading platform. Just letting John go up there first, just to make sure that they're safe.
YouTube continues if there's any danger.
The show must go on. I'll call you an ambulance when I've finished filming. So the turntable's only there through those trees. This is the area. This keeps giving this Godley place. So we've got, I'm assuming it is, Woodhead Line post still standing there, just scouting around. It is a popular spot. We're just scouting around waiting for people to clear out from the turntable. And the family having a picnic. They've just vacated. It started to rain and the sun's coming out at the same time. Now they have constructed these steps down so you can get up and down without climbing. Go into the centre of the turntable. So this is where the tracks would have been. I'll go up and have a look. There's some inspection pits there. But obviously the sole purpose of the turntable, forgive me for pointing the obvious out, to turn the trains around. Now you see some turntables in sidings, don't you, where they basically distribute trains onto individual sidings, but yeah, its purpose was trains came, brought the goods, coal, whatever, from the Cheshire Lines in that direction, deposited them in the yard, and came on here, turned the trains round to head back out with either empties or coal coming over the Pennines, over the Woodhead Line. I hope I'm doing a good job of explaining this. But it was built in the 1930s, and that sign's just been saying it was built for with electrification in mind. So the steam trains had dropped their load here and the electric trains had picked them up and take them over the electrified Woodhead Line, but that electrification didn't happen for around another 20 something years, I think. They're doing the maths. I think it's lasted until the 60s, so that's looking back. It's looking out now the other way. The line would have come onto the turntable, and you can see they've plugged the gap there with those sleepers. Now this was quite severely overgrown until very recently. There's been a lot of work done. It's been quite a big project to uncover it, and it's like it does get quite a little bit of TLC. Now there is some drainage in the middle. In fact, there's a right echo coming from that. Don't know when this was put in, but there was a picture online from only a few years ago. Well, this was full of water. It just looked like a big giant round fish tank. Fish pond, should I say. So I've just been struggling to get a good shot of one of these yard lamps up in the trees, but there's actually one clearly visible just here, just by the turntable. Just a bit of a ladder at the top. So I'm assuming, this is just a guess, could this be where the mechanism that they controlled the turntable went, just on here, in that little recess? in here. So I believe engines came off of the turntable here, and we've got two inspection pits. So there's the inspection pit at that side, and there's the other one. This is a slightly longer one, this actually. Let's have a walk down. Some steps placed in here. See it? Excellent. So we're inside. Just imagine being, I don't know if it's the right level, if it's been raised up. It seems very shallow, but just imagine we'd be underneath a steam locomotive. Right, yeah. There's a track chair just on the side of the turntable. And look, we've got a line of them on the side of the inspection pit, going all the way down. So that's Godley turntable.
Right.
So yeah, a couple of families turned up now, so we just got a little bit of a window of filming, but it's good to see people enjoying, coming to learn about the turntable. It's good to see. It's good to see that that's preserved. So we're heading back to the station, walking down the disused line, the Cheshire Lines disused railway. There's lots to see here. It's definitely whetting my appetite to come and do a couple more videos around here. This is just up from the turntable, this old bridge. We were just saying it's bridge 129. We saw bridge 131 just the other side of the turntable, and we've not spotted bridge 130. So there's the line, Cheshire Lines, disused line going off in that direction. And same as I've just been saying, the other bridge, look, that definitely looks like a more modern arch, doesn't it? On that side, the single one they've just put on the end of it. So we'll sign off from Godley. We're hopping back on